So what is up, guys? You got your boy Stingren here today, and today we are here to finally talk about Lila, the third collab character from the Atelier Ryza collab, and she of course was the most anticipated character. But if you don't know why she's good, then this is the video for you. This is going to be a review slash showcasing of Lila, so let me know what you guys think about her in the comment section below. Have you pulled for Lila? And make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And in this video, we'll be talking about everything that you need to know about Lila with her skills, gear recommendations, some PVE, PVP showcase videos, and of course, my overall opinions about Lila as an overall character in the game. So of course, hope you guys enjoy the video. Her skill 1 is a basic 2-hit combo that has a slightly higher damage scaling if she's able to successfully crit on hit. Pay attention because this is going to be very important for Lila later on. This attack also goes into her energy gimmick, which the more energy she has, the further the attack is also boosted. Nothing too much about the skill itself, it's just a basic 2-hitting skill, but it does become basically your main DPSing skill while your skill 3 is on cooldown. Lila's skill 2 is basically what makes Lila very dangerous in any form of content, giving your team an immediate 50% critical chance of action bar push and, well, giving herself an immediate turn after. Now, the general reason why this skill was so dangerous is because, one, it's an immediate 50% critical chance, which basically means if your team is properly geared, you can just have basically free turns of crit, which means extra damage, which can basically help you push through some of the more harder tanker bosses in the game. And of course, Lila immediately gets a turn afterwards, which basically means she's free to just simply pop her S3, which is going to hurt because of how you can build Lila. Lila does not need a lot of critical chance to get going. All she needs is bare minimum 50%, and then by getting her 50% critical chance, popping her S2, you now have 100% crit for those turns until that buff comes back. Think about that. And then you just go right into the S3, and then something's gonna hurt. Something's gonna take a lot of damage, or it's just gonna straight up die. And that's the really cool thing about her S2, is that it's just such, it's basically the prepare to nuke button. That's basically what the S2 feels like for me personally. I've seen a lot of significant difference with a lot of my teams with that critical boost up for the team, which is really good. So of course, I'm saying that her skill 2 is, well, simply put, amazing. And speaking of popping off, skill 3 is basically the pop off button. So you have your prepare to nuke button, and then you have your pop off button. Basically, the skill 3 has an insanely high damage scaling, and the reason why it has such a high damage scaling is dependent on the amount of energy that she holds up. But we will talk about this later on when we talk about some of the things we like and dislike about Lila. However, basically, when current rotations of Lila are around, you simply just go S2 and then you go S3 to proceed to pop something in the face. In PvP, basically this means something's going to die. Something's gonna get annihilated. Something's gonna get sent into the stratosphere. In most PvE game modes, this is basically either going to then kill the boss or simply put the boss at a very low amount, especially if you have it optimally set up with like defense down, even maybe extra damage from modifiers like a mark boost. There's a lot of things that you can do to really make Lila pop off, and again, this scaling of this S3 is absolutely insane if allowed to scale up pretty high. But however, there is generally one real caveat about this issue. We'll talk about that again a bit later. For skill leveling recommendations, I would honestly say I would start with the S2 to get the most of the action bar push and the extra effects from the skill 2. Head over to the skill 3 and then head over to the S1. Skill 3 is obviously your big nuke button, but S1 can still be boosted as well because your skill 3 is going to be on cooldown. So if you have any extra chips from the collab, if you're not working on Ryza, if anything like that, if Lila was your only focus, you should have a fair amount of chips as well. So if anything, try to max out as much as you can, but I would go skill 2, skill 3, and skill 1. For beginning to mid game, I would say the free attack and crit set is generally very much fine for Lila. She will still hit some astronomically high numbers with the free attack crit set, and that is something you can actually build for Lila. But if you're looking to go more in game and you want to go a little bit more higher on the DPS end, you could go critical damage and crit chance as the set that you want to run with her, because you can actually build your critical damage for a bare minimum of 300 to 350% to make Lila pop off. And of course you want bare minimum critical chance of 50%, because that means when she pops her S2 you'll have 100% critical chance, and of course with that high 250% crit in the back, you're definitely going to be hitting things exceptionally hard. So generally speaking, you can either go the free attack crit set from the beginner missions, or if you were looking for more in-game-ish, I would say go critical damage, critical chance, and you want to have your gear in the following substats: critical damage, attack, and crit chance. Now remember, as I said before, you only really need 50% crit chance with Lila. So anything else you want to go after that 50% crit chance is completely up to you. You can maybe go speed, maybe go HP, you know, maybe even go defense, because she is a little bit on one of the issues that we will talk about later. So I'm not going to say it here. I'm going to talk about what I like and what I don't like when I get to that section. But again, that's just one of the recommendations. In PvE, I would definitely say Lila definitely fits more of a single target red boss snooker type of mold for PvE content. The reason why is because, well, it's very much easy to just set Lila in there and just watch her go pop off. She's also more reliable than one of the more common blue nukers in Ginga, because her condition is a lot easier to nuke with. Well, simply put, all Lila needs is a defense down, and you can get defense down from a lot of units. Even a free unit that we got from the first event, Chihaya, is a prime example of a free defense down unit that can even extend her own debuff just to make Lila look a lot better. So for single target PvE bosses that are of the red or even blue, I would even say, you can actually fit Lila in there very well. Of course, if it's green, you definitely want to sub for somewhere else, because that is a resistant element, and of course she takes extra damage as a blue attacker. But generally speaking, in PvE, she is definitely a fine nuker for the single target side. For AoE, I would maybe say focus on someone else depending on the fight gimmicks. Like for example, she's not the best in Octopus because she's not very bulky, which is again tackling one of the issues with Lila. But that's that. In PvP, however, I would definitely say yes, use Lila now. She's very good in PvP because she's basically a walking "I'm going to kill you" button. That's essentially it. If you have an Alice or some other type of unit that can help you get into your Lila faster, because you're not going to be building Lila for speed, then all you gotta do is pass over to Lila, and then guess what? Well, she's gonna pop her S2, push your allies forward, which can also help in getting the other units over, and that means potentially more attacks from your team, from the enemy team, which is definitely a lot better. And of course, that critical chance, that means they're going to deal a lot more damage from your side because of the crit damage boost. And we've already talked about this before like 10 different times over. S2 into S3 is going to end someone's career instantly. And it doesn't even matter even if it's a resist. If it's like a resist like Della, for example, which is a popular green tank I see, she's still going to take a lot from Lila. She's going to take a lot. And that's really good to help beat over something, but there's that. But there is one interesting thing I would like to say about PvP usage with Lila. One thing that she's immediately threatened by is another mainstay PvP unit, and that's going to be Sirius. Since Sirius does awfully run bulk speed builds, she can definitely get the stop on Lila, which is unfortunate, because if Lila is your DPS in your PvP team, then she is going to get blasted by Sirius. Sirius easily outspeeds Lila in any way, shape, or form, because Lila goes for damage while Sirius goes for speed, and Sirius has a similar gimmick where she can also take an extra turn to then attack into Lila. So even if you do survive the S3, because you did kind of put a little bit of bulk into your Lila, or whether the S2 rather, and then she could just follow right up with an S3 or an S1 to simply finish you off. Even using Ryza's defense mechanic where she can take 30% of the damage, Lila would still then be in danger and can still get immediately wiped in terms of damage. So there's that. It basically comes down to if you're rolling against someone with a Sirius, it's who's faster, my Alice or your Sirius. And 9 times out of 10 we'll definitely say it's going to be Sirius depending on how well they're built. But if they're not, if you're that magical 1 out of 10 which you can get multiple times because of again how someone can build up their character, then of course you can potentially get the jump on that Sirius because Sirius isn't necessarily very bulky. But in generally speaking, she's very good in PvP. I would say one of the good things about Lila is that her damage is second to none. She doesn't really have any struggling issues whenever it comes to DPSing. As I mentioned before, she's just going to be your one unit that's going to go in and consistently hit for very high numbers. And of course she does it very effortlessly if you build her up at least somewhat optimally. And again, using the free set is good enough for her to do the nice numbers. Group Critical Up is a pretty nice game changer because giving everyone effectively a 50% crit chance can go so well with characters who only build just for slightly amounts of crit. For example, if you're using someone with a set that has 30% crit chance, that means after Lila's buff they now have an 80% chance to crit, which means the other attacking units, whether it even be small supports like Morris or something, can still get an extra bit of chip damage, which is going to help in beating over the enemies. For example, if you are attacking into a green target, even dealing that extra crit damage may just be the difference between that unit surviving and that unit dying because of the extra crit chance. And of course, depending on what's set up on the field, that of course is going to add a little bit more modifiers for the team to hit a little more harder. Another thing I do like is she does have a group action bar increase, which is very good for immediately getting the jump on some characters. There are some instances where you're just a little bit too slow for the team that you're fighting against. This is definitely true in PvP. PvE, it's a little nice niche. It's definitely good because you definitely want to get as much damage as you can and while the defense down is there. So definitely using that S3 to push up after the defense down is generally the play of what you want to go for. But it's still a pretty nice game changer in a way that you can really just get the jump on certain other teams and then proceed to just start popping off before they start popping off, which is again pretty good. So let's talk about a few things that I didn't like too much about Lila. One of the things I didn't like about Lila is that she does have a little bit of a lack of AoE. This one's kind of a very small issue if anything, because some DPSs are just single target, some are just AoE. But the only thing I can really see with Lila with her being such a defining character of the game right now is it does only limit her PvE options. For example, you would probably easily slot her in for something like Centaur, but would you take her to something like Octopus to the Lava Land, which traditionally wants a little bit more AoE focused attacks because of the add-ons that spawn on the field. So it only just makes her PvE options only a little bit more limiting, not the end of the world for that at all. It's very minor, so again, just something there. Next up is Lila is a very frail character. Essentially, you could look at Lila as a glass cannon. That's generally what you would look at her like. She's generally this unit that's going to hit exceptionally hard, but be hit exceptionally hard while using her as well. So it's generally a little bit of a give and a take type of thing with Lila. And my last key issue with Lila that I didn't really like was her energy gain mechanic does suck a little bit on the unfortunate side of things. So essentially speaking, Lila's gimmick of gaining energy is really only beneficiary from its UE. Its UE gives you energy if you are able to successfully kill an enemy. Here's the problem. Lila's 2 skills, her skill 1, skill 3, adds extra damage however based her energy is and uses up that energy. So if she's at 5 energy, her skill 1's gonna get a little bit stronger because of the 5 energy, but then that 5 energy will be used. So that means there's no ample way for Lila to hold on to her energy for other attacks or even just a bigger S3 nuke. We've already talked about how strong the S3 is, and part of its scaling of the S3 and even the S1 is based on energy. The more energy she has, the more scaling it goes up. Since she can't actively gain energy that consistently, it does hurt a little bit because that means you will never be able to really see the big true nuke numbers that you can see with, I don't know, a high energy investment Lila build or something. So that's the only thing, but if anything, it doesn't really hurt her too much because again, she's still pumping out good numbers as is. So again, most of these things I didn't really like about Lila are just kind of things that are in small quotations, nothing too big and nothing too noticeable for what her role is supposed to be. In general, short, this is the final part of the video, but Lila is amazing. She's a fantastic DPS. She's a fantastic nuker. She's definitely going to be a lot of the team's staple attacker for a lot of single target red bosses, and she's definitely going to be a team staple for PvP. So I will humbly say, if you have not gone to try for Lila yet, please get out there and use what you can to try to pull for this unit. You still have some time left before this collab ends, so if you want to go out there and you have to say, well, I gotta get one unit of this collab, then it's definitely going to be Lila. She is going to be so much worth your investment, and of course she's going to be a great unit. But this is me, your boy Stingren. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the video. That of course helps me out substantially, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.